that I wasn't taught on Death Row Records. All my cars was in Suge Knight name.
Whether it's based on creative distinctions, financial controversies, or just personal disrespect, the entertainment scenery remains an avenue for never-ending beef. Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight, two of hip-hop's beloved legends, are no exception. In exploring the feud between the music giants, I will point out Suge's intimidating reputation and powerful presence, while highlighting Snoop's fearlessness, which was responsible for him not backing down. Through this comprehensive breakdown of their beef and eventual reconciliation, we will uncover the shocking facts and sensational details, including why Snoop Dogg was never scared of Suge Knight. Snoop Dogg vs. Suge Knight. In the early 1990s, the landscape of the music industry was forever changed with the emergence of Death Row Records. At the helm of this iconic record label stood a formidable figure named Suge Knight, whose reputation for both his towering stature and business acumen was legendary. It was during this time that a young rapper by the name of Snoop Dogg entered the scene, destined to become one of the most influential artists in hip-hop history. Snoop Dogg, a protege of the renowned Dr. Dre, had a unique talent and a captivating presence that caught the attention of the industry. Recognizing his potential, Dr. Dre took Snoop under his wing and nurtured his talent, forming a creative partnership that would lay the foundation for their future success. Together, they crafted a sound that would go on to define an era and captivate audiences worldwide. Suge Knight took charge of the business side of things. With his keen eye for talent and his ability to navigate the industry, Suge saw the potential in Snoop Dogg and recognized the opportunity to turn his raw talent into commercial success. Thus, Snoop Dogg found himself signing with Death Row Records, a decision that would forever change the trajectory of his career. Under the guidance of Suge Knight, Death Row Records became a force to be reckoned with. The label boasted an impressive roster of artists, including Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and the late Tupac Shakur. Together, they pushed the boundaries of hip-hop and created a sound that resonated with audiences around the world. Snoop Dogg's debut album, Doggy Style, released in 1993, was an instant hit. It showcased his unique flow, laid-back delivery, and storytelling abilities, solidifying his status as a rising star in the rap game. The album's success was a testament to the creative partnership between Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, as well as the business acumen of Suge Knight. As Death Row Records continued to dominate the charts, Snoop Dogg's star continued to rise. He became a cultural icon, known for his smooth style, charismatic persona, and undeniable talent. His collaboration with Dr. Dre on the iconic album The Chronic further solidified his place in hip-hop history. However, behind the scenes, tensions began to simmer. While Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre focused on creating music, Suge Knight retained ownership of the label's assets and made decisions that would shape the direction of their careers. Snoop Dogg described Suge Knight's monopoly of finance at Death Row Records during a 2018 interview with Vlad TV. He said, "When I was on Death Row Records, we made a lot of f***ing money, but Suge Knight controlled it all. Everything was in his name. He distributed the money. He passed it out. He gave you what he felt you should have." This power dynamic, as well as Suge's increasingly violent ways, would later become a source of conflict between Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight. Despite the growing tensions, Death Row Records continued to dominate the music industry. The label released a string of successful albums, including Snoop Dogg's sophomore effort, Bad Dogfather. However, as the label's content became increasingly violent and controversial, Snoop Dogg began to question the direction in which Death Row was headed. In a 2011 interview with VH1, Snoop Dogg expressed his desire to bring a more positive side of music to the forefront. He wanted to distance himself from the negativity that Death Row Records seemed to glorify. This marked a turning point in his relationship with Suge Knight and the label. As the 1990s drew to a close, Death Row Records faced a series of challenges. The tragic death of Tupac Shakur and the departure of Dr. Dre left the label in a state of turmoil. Suge Knight's arrest for probation violation further exacerbated the situation, leading to a decline in morale and a sense of uncertainty within the Death Row camp. During that same period, Snoop Dogg found himself entangled in a widely publicized murder trial. Thankfully, he was spared from spending at least 11 years behind bars when he was acquitted. These events inevitably forced a change in mindset in Snoop Dogg, and he made the decision to part ways with Death Row Records. He sought greener pastures and signed with Master P's No Limit Records, embarking on a new chapter in his career. This departure marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new journey for Snoop Dogg. As Snoop Dogg bade farewell to Death Row Records, his final parting thoughts towards Suge Knight were far from positive. In a documentary recap from BET, Snoop Dogg can be seen seen in an old interview speaking in disdain about his time on Death Row Records. He said, "I was working against the devil, and through the grace of God, Master P and Priority Records put a deal together that was suitable for me." The same documentary also captured Suge's perspective on Snoop Dogg's exit from Death Row, and he vehemently maintained that Snoop Dogg would be nothing without him. The back and forth between the two continued for several years, giving birth to one of the most iconic exchanges in the history of rap feuds. This happened when an MTV News reporter again asked Suge Knight about Snoop Dogg's exit, to which he responded, "He used to be a superstar, now he's just a no-limit soldier." This prompted an absolute stinker of a response from Snoop. "He used to be a CEO, now he's just an inmate." By 2002, tensions between Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight had reached an all-time high. The once unbreakable bond between the two had been shattered, and a bitter feud had taken hold. It was during this time that Snoop Dogg decided to take matters into his own hands and put his former associate on blast for all to see. He targeted Pimp Slapped, a brazen diss track aimed directly at Suge Knight. In this scathing song, Snoop left nothing to the imagination, making it clear where he stood in the ongoing feud. From the opening bars, Snoop rapped, "Suge Knight's a bitch, and that's on my life." The lyrics were a direct attack on Suge's character and reputation, leaving no room for misinterpretation. But Snoop didn't stop there. He extended an invitation to Suge for a one-on-one confrontation, whether it be through a fist fight or a knife fight. The lyrics were a bold challenge, a testament to Snoop's fearlessness and refusal to back down. He questioned Suge's credibility, even going as far as to put his prison time under the microscope. Snoop wondered aloud why a self-proclaimed hardened individual like Suge had never been locked down on level 4. In a time when nobody dared to fire shots at Suge Knight, Snoop Dogg pulled out a pair of proverbial shotguns and let fly with callous precision. The diss track was a bold move, a statement of defiance in the face of a powerful adversary. It showcased Snoop's unwavering resolve and his refusal to be intimidated. The release of Pimp Slapped sent shockwaves through the industry. It was a bold and audacious move that caught the attention of fans and critics alike. Snoop Dogg had drawn a line in the sand, making it clear that he would not be silenced or cowed by Suge Knight or anyone else. Unsurprisingly, the tensions between Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight extended beyond the diss track. In 2002, both artists attended the Vibe Awards, and it was rumored that they almost came to blows. The situation was so volatile that it took the intervention of Steve Harvey, the eternal peacekeeper, to prevent a physical altercation. The incident highlighted the deep-seated animosity between the two parties and the potential for violence that loomed over their relationship. But the feud didn't end there. In 2004, the Vibe Awards once again became a battleground for the ongoing tensions. This time, it was Dr. Dre who found himself on the receiving end of a sucker punch. While the attacker was swiftly dealt with, the incident underscored the deep divisions between the Aftermath Snoop camp and the Death Row Murder Inc. alliance. Rumors swirled that Suge Knight was sitting just a few feet away from Dr. Dre during the attack. Some even claimed that the attacker had alleged that Knight was the orchestrator of the assault. However, Suge's legal team staunchly denied these claims, and the truth behind the incident remains shrouded in mystery. Despite the near-apocalyptic levels of tension between Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight, fate would once again intervene. A probation violation sent Suge Knight back to jail, and with his absence, a new chapter began to unfold. After years of bitter feuding and animosity, a surprising turn of events would bring Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight face-to-face once again. It was a meeting that would ultimately lead to a reconciliation and a newfound understanding between the two former allies. Although the meeting took place in 2005, it wasn't until 2018 that Snoop Dogg revealed the details of the face-to-face meeting that would change everything.
But I had to go get that cool with him. I had to go sit down with Suge when we wasn't cool.
Right.
He recounted the encounter during an interview with former NFL player Arian Foster, shedding light on the candid conversation that took place between him and Suge Knight. Snoop and his security guard were rolling through Las Vegas when they happened to cross paths with Suge. The tension in the air was palpable, and Snoop's entourage was ready to pounce at a moment's notice. But Snoop had a different plan in mind. He wanted to address the issues between them directly, to confront Suge and seek resolution. And so Snoop proposed a peaceful resolution, a chance to move forward and leave the past behind. 45 minutes later, Snoop and Suge found themselves in a room accompanied only by Snoop's associate, Superfly. The atmosphere was tense, but the conversation that unfolded was unexpected. Snoop reveals, "So Suge and I are chopping it up, and the whole conversation is, I loved you and I could have saved you. I had nothing but love for you." And his conversation is, "I loved you. I ain't got nothing but love for you." Snoop then fires back with a harsh but fair question. "Why'd you try to get me popped if you love me? You know what? I forgive you. I ain't gonna do nothing to you. There's an is outside that want your head right now. They ain't gonna do nothing to you. You're gonna walk on out of here and we gonna be cool from this day forward. And we've been straight. The reconciliation between Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight was a testament to the power of forgiveness. It showed that even in the midst of deep-seated animosity, there is always a chance for redemption and healing. More importantly, it highlights the maturity and courage displayed by Snoop Dogg at a time when most rappers dreaded Suge Knight. But why wasn't Snoop Dogg scared of Suge Knight? Snoop Dogg, from street thug to superstar. To get a better perspective of the significance of Snoop Dogg's complete defiance, given the fear and authority Suge Knight commanded amongst artists at the time, we must first explore the background story of both rap industry stalwarts. Suge Knight, born Marion Hugh Knight Jr. on April 19, 1965, his story begins in the heart of Compton, California. Growing up in a neighborhood plagued by poverty and violence, Suge's early life was far from ordinary. His childhood was marked by a series of events that would shape his future and set him on a path to both success and controversy. From a young age, Suge faced the harsh realities of his surroundings. Raised by his mother Maxine and his father Marion Knight Sr., he witnessed firsthand the struggles of living in a community affected by crime and gang activity. The streets of Compton became his playground, but they also served as a constant reminder of the challenges that lay just beyond his doorstep. While Compton was known for its gang activity, it is important to note that there is no concrete evidence to suggest that Suge was involved with the notorious Bloods gang during his teenage years. Instead, Suge found solace in sports, particularly football. He attended Linwood High School, where his athletic prowess began to shine. Standing at an imposing 6 feet 4 inches tall and weighing over 200 pounds, Suge quickly became a formidable player on the football field. His physicality and determination earned him a reputation as a talented athlete, catching the attention of college scouts. His talent eventually earned him a football scholarship to the University of Nevada, Los Angeles. Suge Knight played briefly as a defensive lineman for the Los Angeles Rams before working as a bodyguard for various celebrities, including the legendary rapper Bobby Brown in the late 1980s. This role allowed him to establish connections within the music industry and gain valuable insights into its inner workings. It was during this time that Knight's entrepreneurial spirit began to take shape, and he started envisioning a record label that would challenge the status quo. In 1991, Knight took a significant step towards realizing his vision when he co-founded the record label Death Row Records, alongside renowned producer Dr. Dre. The label's name itself carried a sense of rebellion and defiance, reflecting Knight's determination to make an impact in the industry. With Dr. Dre's musical talent and Knight's business acumen, Death Row Records quickly became a force to be reckoned with. One of the label's earliest successes came with the release of Dr. Dre's debut solo album, The Chronic, in 1992. The album's groundbreaking sound and provocative lyrics captivated audiences, propelling it to multi-platinum status. It not only solidified Dr. Dre's status as a rap icon, but also established Death Row Records as a prominent player in the industry. However, as Death Row Records soared to new heights, controversy and legal troubles loomed over Suge Knight and the label. In 1992, Suge was involved in a highly publicized altercation with rapper and producer Andre Eazy-E Wright. The incident, which took place at the annual Source Awards, further fueled the media's fascination with Suge's larger-than-life persona and the perceived violence surrounding Death Row Records. The controversies surrounding Knight and Death Row Records continued to escalate. In 1994, Knight was arrested and charged with assault and battery after an altercation with two aspiring rappers at a Hollywood recording studio. These incidents, coupled with rumors of intimidation tactics and connections to organized crime, only added to the label's notorious reputation. Despite the controversies, Death Row Records continued to dominate the music charts thanks to their talented lists of artists which boasted some of the biggest names in hip-hop, including Tupac Shakur and Snoop Dogg. This is where we get into Snoop Dogg's intriguing background story. Born Cortazar Calvin Broadus Jr. in Long Beach, California, on October 20th, 1971, Snoop got the nickname from his mother because she thought he shared an uncanny resemblance with Snoopy from the Peanuts cartoon. As a child, Snoop showed an affinity for music, and before long, he was playing the piano and singing at the local Baptist church. He later began to rap as a 6th grader. However, growing up in the East Side region pushed Snoop Dogg to become deeply involved with the notorious Rollin' 20s Crips gang at a tender age. These early experiences would shape his life and set the stage for his future struggles and triumphs. Snoop Dogg's affiliation with the Rollin' 20s Crips gang led to numerous encounters with law enforcement, with some of his arrests dating back to his high school days. The streets became his classroom, and the gang became his family. But with this sense of belonging came a life filled with danger and constant brushes with the law. During his youth, Snoop Dogg's rap sheet read like a collection of drug possession charges. His involvement with drugs became a recurring theme in his life, leading to repeated stints in prison. The allure of the streets and the fast life proved difficult for Snoop Dogg to resist, and he found himself caught in a cycle of arrests and incarceration. However, amidst the chaos and turmoil, Snoop Dogg discovered an outlet for his emotions and a way to communicate his struggles. It was during his time behind bars that he turned to music as a means of expression. The rawness and authenticity of his lyrics became a reflection of his experiences on the streets and his battles with the law. Snoop Dogg's early day recordings involved demos that he recorded with his cousin Nate Dogg and their friend Warren G. These recordings caught the attention of none other than Dr. Dre, a legendary producer in the music industry. Dr. Dre recognized Snoop Dogg's raw talent and saw the potential in his unique style. The turning point in Snoop Dogg's life came when Dr. Dre took him under his wing. With Dr. Dre's guidance and mentorship, Snoop Dogg's music career began to take off. The collaboration between the two resulted in the creation of the groundbreaking album, The Chronic, which was released in 1992. This album not only showcased Snoop Dogg's distinctive voice, but also solidified his status as a rising star in the rap world. While Snoop Dogg's music career was soaring to new heights, his personal life was plagued by a series of legal troubles that seemed to follow him wherever he went. Despite his success as a rapper and entrepreneur, Snoop Dogg found himself entangled in a web of arrests, controversies, and legal battles that threatened to overshadow his achievements. Snoop Dogg's first encounter with the law came in 1990 when he was convicted of cocaine possession. This early brush with the legal system served as a stark reminder of the dangers lurking in his lifestyle. However, it was only the beginning of a long and tumultuous journey through the criminal justice system. 3 years later, in 1993, Snoop Dogg faced another legal setback when he pleaded guilty to possession of a weapon. He had been caught with a gun, further fueling the perception that he was involved in a dangerous and criminal world. These charges highlighted the challenges Snoop Dogg faced as he tried to navigate his way through fame and fortune while still grappling with the realities of his past. But the most significant legal battle Snoop Dogg faced came in 1996, when he found himself at the center of a highly publicized case. A gang member was allegedly killed by someone in a vehicle that Snoop Dogg was riding in, thrusting him into the spotlight and raising questions about his involvement. The case garnered intense media attention, with many fans and critics wondering if Snoop Dogg had gotten away with murder. Despite the intense scrutiny, Snoop Dogg managed to have the charges dropped, leaving the public with lingering questions and a sense of controversy surrounding his name. The incident became a defining moment in his career, forever casting a shadow over his reputation and raising doubts about his innocence. Unlike other gangster rappers, Snoop Dogg wasn't just about the violent lyrics. He lived his lyrics and experienced the kind of dangerous lifestyle that many people never survived at the time. While Suge Knight may have had an imposing frame and menacing look, Snoop had pretty much stared at the eyes of bigger evils from his teenage years and throughout his young adult life. Needless to say, there was no way he was going to back down from a confrontation with Suge. It didn't happen then, and that is still the situation now. Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight revisit their feud. After the 2005 meeting between Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight, a newfound understanding was developed between the two former allies. Years later, during a 2013 interview with Vlad TV, Snoop Dogg spoke respectfully of Suge Knight, praising him as one of the best businessmen to come out of the West Coast. He acknowledged the role that Suge himself and others played in building Death Row Records into one of the greatest dynasties the rap game had ever seen. Snoop's words hinted at a shift in perspective, a willingness to reevaluate the past and find common ground. In 2019, Snoop even honored Suge with a dedication track, Let Bygones Be Bygones, a gesture that spoke volumes about the state of their relationship at the time. However, things took a turn for the worse when Snoop acquired Death Row Records in a deal with MNRK Music Group in February 2022. This marked a full-circle moment in the rap legend's illustrious career, and he expressed his excitement in an official statement. The beautiful rapper said, "I am thrilled and appreciative of the opportunity to acquire the iconic and culturally significant Death Row Records brand, which has immense untapped future value." He continued, "This is an extremely meaningful moment for me. I would like to personally thank the teams at Blackstone, MNRK, and especially David Kessenbaum, who worked collaboratively with me over several months to make this exciting homecoming a reality. I'm looking forward to building the next chapter of Death Row Records." While the news understandably brought a lot of joy to Snoop Dogg and his allies, Suge Knight, who is currently serving a 28-year prison sentence for voluntary manslaughter, was seething with rage in his cell. From behind bars, Suge Knight grabbed the headlines when he raised serious doubts about Snoop Dogg's claim to ownership, alleging that the acquisition was unlawful and steeped in criminal activity. In a leaked phone call from April 2023, Suge sheds light on a dark chapter in the label's history. implicating both Snoop Dogg and Michael Harry O. Harris. According to Suge, Snoop Dogg's claim to ownership is rooted in an alleged crime committed by him and Harris. Suge asserts that they engaged in bankruptcy fraud, a scheme that ultimately led to the acquisition of Death Row Records. Suge reveals that he and his legal team stumbled upon this shocking revelation just a week before the phone call. He expresses doubt about Snoop Dogg's true ownership and questions whether the rapper is the rightful heir to the label he helped bring to prominence. Suge goes on to explain the details of the alleged bankruptcy fraud. He claims that when Snoop Dogg and Harris filed for bankruptcy in 1995, they insisted that it had no connection to Death Row Records. Suge argues that this was a deliberate attempt to deceive the court and protect their interests in the label. Furthermore, Suge accuses Harris's wife and legal team of knowingly participating in the fraudulent activities surrounding the bankruptcy claim. He asserts that they were fully aware of the connection between the bankruptcy and Death Row Records, yet chose to conceal this information. For Suge Knight, this revelation is not just a matter of legal technicalities. He sees it as a grave injustice, a betrayal of the label's legacy and the black community it represented. Knight passionately argues that it is unacceptable to allow someone who committed such a serious crime to take control of Death Row Records and potentially transfer ownership to individuals outside the black community. Thus, the battle lines are drawn, and Suge Knight, ready to be a true knight, is determined to fight for what he believes is rightfully his. At some point in the phone call, he firmly states, "I am Death Row, Suge Knight is Death Row," leaving no room for doubt about his unwavering commitment to reclaiming the label he helped build. Meanwhile, the allegations of bankruptcy fraud quickly sent shockwaves through the music industry, raising questions about the legitimacy of Snoop Dogg's ownership and the future of Death Row Records. Despite Suge Knight's damning allegations, Snoop Dogg didn't give a direct response, and things seemed to quiet down between the two until Suge made some outrageous claims on his podcast Collect Call during the February 5th episode. During the episode, the notorious former head of Death Row Records accused hip-hop moguls Russell Simmons and the late Andre Harrell of a secret romantic entanglement. He claimed, "Everybody knows they were lovers. They participated in those types of things. Now, once again, a person has the right to be whatever they want to be, but own it." These men in the industry don't consider themselves gay. They consider themselves messing with women, but they really don't like the women because they beat the shit out of them. Following Suge's wild claims, the public reaction was swift and divided. While some were stunned by the allegations, others questioned Suge Knight's motives and mental state. The clash between Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg took an even more intense turn when Snoop responded to Suge's allegations. Known for his quick wit and sharp tongue, Snoop took to social media to express his thoughts on the matter. Under coverage of Suge Knight's claims, Snoop commented, "Sem H, I'm praying for that brother, that he finds peace." While seemingly a peaceful response, little did Snoop know that his words would ignite a firestorm. Suge Knight, never one to hold back, unleashed an angry Twitter rampage aimed directly at Snoop Dogg. He challenged Snoop to produce proof of payment or an agreement to back up his claims. Accusing Snoop of being a fake Crip, Suge didn't shy away from throwing personal jabs. Suge's social media attack on Snoop didn't stop there, as he went on to repost a video skit that mocked Snoop's behavior when the cameras weren't rolling. This move further fueled the flames of their feud, leaving fans and industry insiders wondering how far this clash would go. And Suge took his attacks on Snoop even further. In a low blow, he took a swipe at Snoop's personal life, accusing his wife of infidelity. He shared in a post on X, "You pray for me, Snoop Dogg. Okay, I'll pray your wife stop going to Hawaii with other men. Snoop Dogg, boss lady." This accusation hit hard, leaving fans questioning the truth behind Suge's claim and adding another layer of tension to the already explosive feud. Most fans and industry insiders have been left bewildered by Suge's latest attacks on Snoop. Throughout the years, Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg have exchanged verbal jabs and engaged in public feuds, but it seems their warring has now taken on a new dimension. Their relationship, once filled with camaraderie and shared success, has now become a battleground for their personal and professional differences. Snoop's comment, expressing concern for Suge Knight's well-being, may have come from a place of genuine worry. However, it also reignited the flames of their past conflicts, leading to the explosive Twitter rampage we witnessed. The implications of this feud extend beyond the personal animosity between Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg. It raises questions about the credibility of Suge's allegations, the impact on their respective legacies, and the overall state of the hip-hop industry. With the growing animosity between Suge and Snoop, it begs the question, will there be an eventual resolution? To be the first to get the scoop, click on the card showing on your screen.